right, hello. My name is Arsh. I'm here with DSG's ADC, Meech. Right after he's victorious, winning the NACL, uh, you know, coming straight off of one of the hardest periods of time probably for the NACL academy system in its history. DSG comes in, picks you up, picks up 3 members from C9, and picks up Young, and you guys win a championship. I mean, honestly, this shit didn't even look close. How do you feel?
Um, Definitely feels a bit like surreal, I'd say, because I didn't even know if I was going to continue playing. After last split, when CLG or now NRG dropped their challengers team, so I was just seeing what happened, and then they gave me like the opportunity, and I knew the roster would be good, so I was like, all right, I'll just see what happens with the team. But now winning, obviously, it feels like pretty insane. But I'd say like we just played really well together. We fit well together, so it was pretty natural.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you guys had a little bit of a shakier performance in the last 2 best of 5s you played. I personally was watching, a lot of analysts were watching and thinking that, like, there were some things you get exposed on, right? Like, it looked like, maybe Young could be a little bit more exposed on champion pool. People thought that, like, Fake God was, like, kind of a huge playmaker for you guys, especially in the last 2 BO5s. And he was really good in this series, too. But I'd say that, like, the rest of everyone, like, really stepped up and just crushed EG here. And I thought it was really impressive how you guys worked together. What was the development like for this team? Because, like, most teams I talk to, they have the whole year, or they've got, at least a month before the split starts to, like, boot camp, whatever. You guys didn't even have that. I was watching as your roster got created behind the scenes. You guys had very little time. How did it feel kind of being thrust onto stage with this?
Well, before I even got picked up, I wasn't really playing any league, so I think I came in pretty bad, honestly, like not playing on my level. But I think we came together pretty decently. Obviously, we had a lot to work on, but I'd say having someone like Zazel around helps a lot because he's just a veteran. He knows how to win, obviously. So
Right.
he helped everyone a lot in that aspect, I'd say.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Zazel's been called out by everyone, but, like, your laning, I'd say, got a lot better. Like, I think last year the criticism for you when you were on CLG was, like, that your laning or whatever, like, you were very hailed for, like, having really good team fighting, but your laning's got. Do you also think that's because of Zazel?
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like at times I'm a bit inconsistent, but I know when I'm playing at my best, I can just like I'm one of the best, obviously.
Yeah.
So Zazel definitely helps like just keep control, like play slow, steady. Just don't give up much. Like he definitely covers, I'd say, a lot of my laning, but I think in the series today my laning was pretty good. So
Yeah, I mean, you were winning pretty much every time. You had some solid laning phases. I think one thing that was weird for me is, like, you weren't getting targeted as much as I thought you would in team fights. Because I think all the drafts were kind of like, just put Meech in the center of the fight, and he will win. Like, did it feel like, I don't know, did it feel like a challenge today? Because, like, it didn't look like it, at least from the audience perspective.
Definitely felt a bit easy, but I wasn't playing like too cocky or anything. I'd say I was playing pretty like try to live mindset, or like don't take any crazy risks in most fights. So I'd say that made it a bit easier for me because obviously like you can go for a big play or play like more cocky or reckless, but I didn't really want to be the one to die and end in the finals. So I was just chilling, relaxing, but I think I made it pretty hard for them to try to get on me at most points, honestly.
And was that mindset coming from, like, you're on stage for the first time?
Yeah, definitely. Like game 1 when I loaded in, like the setup felt a bit weird. Like I was kind of nervous, so I was just like, all right, let me just like chill a bit, just relax, just play my game, don't do anything too crazy until I got settled in, I guess.
Yeah, I imagine that, like, that part definitely probably helped to have Zazel there, Fake God, Tomio, who've played on stages before, who've been in this position. I don't know how you felt, but especially in that last game, I thought you were popping off. I thought you had some really, really good team fights. I don't know if you have, like, any words for how you feel you're going to be moving on from here. Because, like, Toast just said that he doesn't want any buyouts or whatever on DSG. He wants you guys to move up. Like, give us your little 1-minute elevator pitch or whatever to LCS orgs. Tell them why they should pick up Meech.
Sure. So, I mean, I'd say the past 3 splits, I've definitely been among the best in NACL. Maybe not the best, but I think this split, or at least this finals, I proved showed what I'm capable of versus a good team. So yeah, I mean, just take a shot on me, and I won't disappoint you.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see you, Meech, next year. I'm very confident that I'm not confident because I have no faith in LCS org scouting anymore, but I am hopeful that you at least get your shot to play with an LCS roster. I assume you guys have started scrimming LCS at some point, some LCS teams, and I think that hopefully your talent is clear to your fans, to the audience. So hopefully you get to show that next year. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. I'm here with Young now. We're hot off the heels of an insane set of 3 or 4 Azir games, 3 games of just straight Azir.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you had a lot of fun,
Mm-hmm.
and you were not bored at all.
Yeah, I mean, Azir's fine.
What do
I
you
guess.
What do you think about? I just want to open this up and hit you with a heavy hitter question. What do you think about the accusation that you've got a small champ pool?
I mean, if I have a small champ pool, I feel like people can target it, but I feel like I can pick any, I can always find a champion to play. So if you have a small champ pool, it means people can target you and you'll be a liability, but I feel like I always have champs. So
Right.
I think people might be mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I think. What is your read on the meta then? Because game 1 you locked in LeBlanc B1,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of didn't see the LeBlanc or the Akali
Mm-hmm.
as you've been pulling them out for the rest of the series. Did you just feel I mean, you did just scale to win in all the games. Did you just think that EG are not as good as you at team fighting?
Yeah, we definitely went into it thinking that we'll just win if we team fight because we're better team fighters. And I think it showed in the series. And also I might have sandbagged with the AP LeBlanc last series because I didn't play well with full AP LeBlanc last series. But then I talked to Tomio, who talked to Blabber, and they were just saying how Shiv LeBlanc is just the most OP thing still. So
That's weird because a lot of people think that Shiv LeBlanc is complete shit.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really bad a lot of the times when you see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really OP. And the series versus Fear, I went AP LeBlanc and it was just kind of dog shit. But I think it's just OP because nothing ever beats you inside. And you just have so much tempo with it. So we do think we went to the series knowing it was going to be B1 pick or ban.
Right.
Yeah.
So just more generally on the series, I told Meech this already, but it was kind of a stomp.
Mm-hmm.
None of the games, especially the ones that you won, looked close. The game that EG won looked really difficult for them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were expecting this to be a very back and forth series, or a lot of people were favoring EG.
Uh-huh.
Why did this not look close? What changed?
I'm not sure. We just play how we have been in scrims. I think all of us showed up on stage. I couldn't really feel any nerves. So I feel like we knew we were the better team. And yeah, I think we just played well. And I feel like we were favored. I didn't know people were favoring EG.
I think I was speaking to the casters, analysts and stuff. They were saying that EG was on a really hot streak. Ryoma,
Yeah.
I think Ryoma, you really played a lot better than Ryoma did in the series. You kind of outclassed him in every game.
I think game 3 he played really well though.
I just think it's interesting. You mentioned that this was being on stage. You didn't feel any nerves.
Yeah.
But we talked. This wasn't an interview or anything. But we talked. First time you met was after you played first week of LCS Golden Guardians. You'd never even played NACL at that point. And so your first game as a pro was on stage at the LCS, and I remember seeing you and I was like, whoa, that guy is so nervous. And I tried to tell you dude, you playing this well against JoJo is a sign of great things. Genuine, this is a great thing. Good job. But you were super nervous then, but I didn't feel any of that nervousness coming off you. You mentioned that you weren't nervous. Are you just more confident now? Are you ready to play on the LCS stage?
I think so, yeah. I definitely do need to pick up some champions, some mages, but I think I just learned a lot from my time on Academy, on GG and DSG especially. And I need to thank Zazel and Golden Glue for their coaching, but I learned a lot about side laning and laning in general. And I think if I can get a chance to join the big stage, I can just keep improving. So
yeah, I think for me, one of the most interesting parts of your journey is that 2 weeks playing on the week playing on the LCS stage, or whatever. Was it 2 weeks or 1 week?
1 week.
1 week playing in the LCS stage, 2 games, where you really proved that you have you have potential, whatever. You can hold your own despite never playing even NACL. I think that's a super interesting part of your journey. I think it's really cool that Toast picked you up because I think a lot of people wouldn't have predicted like Young as like a part of this roster with like if Toast coming in spending big money, he picks up 3 C9 players. How did it feel being like? I talked to Meech as well. Like he mentioned that it was really nice being on a team with these veterans who know how to win. How did it feel for you, like learning from them?
I was really nervous joining, and I think it showed in my stage matches and even scrims because I would just blindly listen to Zazel and Tomio. But I think later as the season went on, I just realized it's like any other team, and I need to like make my own space and like have my own voice on the team. So.
Jungle Sport need to shut the fuck up, is what you're saying.
No,
they're talking too much.
I mean, I would just blindly listen to calls when I know I can like
do something different.
I have my own opinion on stuff.
Yeah.
So I definitely got better at that throughout the split. But yeah, it felt good. Like I think Insanity was supposed to be that's who they were originally looking at.
Right.
But then he went to TSM, and I just think outside of that, there weren't many like mids available. So I think I was just the next best option. So
very humble. You're like, yeah, I don't know. I was just like available. I was there 9 to 5, show up, clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
But I mean, Toast jokes about it, right? But this is great for DSG's legacy. You guys coming in, winning your first split in the NACL.
Yeah.
A bunch of other creators have like mentioned that they're interested in joining. I don't know. Do you have a message for them to like get other creators to join the NACL?
I mean, if you want to help me out, like I got bills to pay. I'll gladly join another creator team.
Drive up the salaries in the NACL.
Yeah, we got to create another bubble with the creators.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Young. Do you have a message for the fans or for Toast? If he's listening?
Yeah, I'm just really grateful to Toast. Like without him, none of this would have been possible. I would probably just be on the bench on GG right now, just collecting a paycheck. But I'm glad I actually got a chance to like work hard and like do something with it. So I'm really grateful to Toast.
That's incredible because one thing that people don't necessarily know, it was kind of brought up, Toast brought it up on stream a little bit, but like I know this from behind the scenes, is like you gave up a larger paycheck to be a substitute on Golden Guardians for their LCS roster, and you chose to be on DSG to compete for less money and just play because you knew you could win, play for the competition. That's incredible. I think that's a really admirable thing to do, and I think that's super fucking hype for when you get on the LCS stage. Hopefully with DSG next year. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Thank you so much, Young.
Thank you.
I'm here with Tomio. You just crushed this series. I think you were the other contender for the series MVP, but Zazel won it. I think could have gone to either of you. First things first, the most important thing on stage, you're wearing red fucking shorts the whole time, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at home and even like every time I play a competitive match or a match from remote or something, I just play in shorts because it's the most comfort. Because pants, like, it feels tight on your skin, you know? So it just feels weird. Like, I was going to take off my shoes too when I played, but it was fine because I got used to it. But
I mean, you're allowed to take off your shoes in the arena.
Yeah. Shorts feel very loose and like, I don't know, I feel free. Like,
you feel free.
I can't play when I feel like my pants, or if I'm wearing pants, touching my legs. It's just
free to kick their ass.
It just distracts me. Yeah.
You got those Yumi paddles. You know what I mean?
No,
you got
I
the
don't.
Paddles
Really.
But your legs are.
But they were like, you have to wear pants. I said I didn't have pants because I actually don't have pants that I brought.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah. You got in trouble for not wearing pants.
Yeah.
But not.
It was just a verbal in trouble. They didn't actually like fine. They were like, yeah, man. I think they let, because I was like, Fnatic boasted the Valorant champion of like Worlds and MSI. He like for Valorant. He was wearing shorts too. So I was like, I'm probably allowed to wear shorts too because it's like same event or like similar, but
same company.
Yeah.
But are you not cold on stage?
No, I'm not cold. It's actually pretty warm. I thought it'd be colder, but once you get in the zone, you don't really notice the temperature.
Most pros are super cold on stage.
Mm-hmm.
All pros, like almost always, pros have hand warmers, everything on stage. That's crazy. You're for context using shorts and half sleeves the whole time.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, maybe I'll just tune into the zone. I was locked in and stuff, so I didn't really notice anything else but my screen.
Yeah, you were heating up.
But it's pretty warm. At least I wasn't chilly. Only my hands were. Actually, they weren't even cold. My hands. It's just nice to have something warm in your hands.
Yeah, something nice to.
It actually, it's good relief.
But I talked to Young and Meech as well, and they kind of mentioned how you and Zazel are really big voices for the team, and I think that's really clear, right? Because this team had a lot of need for leadership. That was the big thing about it. Like, hey, Young and Meech are coming in core carries, replacing the core carries of C9. definitely a really high ceiling with these two, but they really need to be not like handheld, but like,
Yeah.
macro is completely different as you get
Yeah,
better. Closer to LCS level, like macro completely
yeah,
changes.
for sure. When we went into the split, had two different teammates in mid and AD, and I think even one player can change the dynamic of a whole team. Like for example, mid. I think like you could see it from outside perspective. Like for example, T1 when Faker
Yeah.
had to take a break, like things weren't clicking always with the new sub, or like they just look like a whole different team, right? And I think at the beginning we had a little slump because sometimes everybody wasn't doing their jobs correctly in the mid to late game. And for example, last split, we would have lost and Diplex from C9C, and they would have a big say and a big voice in things when preparing for Dragons or just mid to late game side laning.
Yeah.
So we had to learn it and talk about it a lot and go through it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It completely changes how a team wants to play and can play. Every player has their own restrictions and like how they want to approach a fight,
Yeah.
whatever. But I think for you, this is something that I've been really like noticing with you is like you seem like a player who has very few restrictions. I don't know if this is something you work towards. Like, I mean, you played Kindred and Sejuani in this series, and you looked fucking cracked on both of them. I don't think there's many players, even like at the LCS level, who really prioritize. I think Blabber comes to mind, which makes sense. You worked with him a bunch. But
Yeah.
like players who can play both Kindred, who's like a really carry champion who most junglers won't even risk pulling out,
Yeah.
and Sejuani, who's like bread and butter tank, and play
Yeah.
them to that level. Do you prioritize that, like that flexibility?
Not really. I just depends on the meta, but usually for me personally, I like to have a good feeling, or my skill cap for champs, like I like to practice basically all the champs in solo queue just in case if we need to pull out something, or like depending on the draft. I'd say I don't really focus on specific champs because I think to be a good player, a great player, you have to be able to like play a lot of champs and have a good champ pool. So you don't like restrict your team in draft, or like you can fall into like problems.
So the Karthus jungle coming
Yeah,
up soon
yeah.
on
And,
stage.
like for example, I would love to play like Kiana jungle, for example. I like to
Oh.
practice that a lot during the off season, and if she ever becomes meta, I'd love to play her, but I don't know if they'll ever buff her, make her a strong jungler.
I'm sure at some
But she's
point,
getting solo queue.
So I'm
Yeah.
sure at some point she'll be back.
Yeah.
She's a very fun
Yeah,
champion.
but
to
I'd
watch.
say for me, if there's like champs that are meta, but like sometimes players just play the same champs, or for example, there's like tank players who only play tanks, or like carry players who only play carries. If like there's a meta where there's two different playstyles of jungle, I'd like to like make sure they're ready and warmed up, because for me personally, it feels off if I'm not confident, or like if I don't have a lot of practice on it or solo queue. So I make sure to practice all the champs that are meta, just in case.
Yeah, and I think
And I'm a huge grinder myself. I love playing solo queue, and
yeah, I mean I've noticed that you have a huge. You ever plug your stream?
yeah,
You stream a lot.
yeah. Twitch TV, all Tomio.
Lol,
I stream a
Tomio.
lot. This season, during the season, it's hard to stream, but during off season, I stream a lot.
Dude,
because
during
it's
the
fun.
season, you stream more than most pros do.
Yeah, I
overall.
find time sometimes there. But this summer, I'm probably gonna go to Korea to play.
And you're gonna stream from there? Or?
Yeah, I'll look to stream from there and play solo queue. I
All
think
right.
I can get a ride account,
Yeah, that's gonna be
but it'll be fun.
It's gonna be sick.
It's my first time playing.
first time going to Korea.
I did play EOS from home on like 110 ping. I almost got challenger. I was
The
like,
Meech ping?
yeah, the Meech ping. But I almost got challenger a couple times. But it was pretty fun, like playing in other servers, because just you can notice a difference. Like for example, from any of the EU, I noticed like the 80 carries in EU, they're a lot like more aggressive, and they can actually carry games, you know. And like mid laners, they're pretty solid, and like top lane's like a little bit better, but not that much from the solo queue there. But mid and AD for sure, the roles are like, I'd say they could take over games if they have a lead.
Yeah.
Compared to like here, some games solo queue, like if you know like this player has lead, they might throw, or like this one trick, right?
Yeah.
And also they have, I wouldn't say player base, but a higher ranked player base. Like queue
Yeah,
times
they
are
have-
really fast
they
there.
have a
and
bigger player
it's
base
really
in general,
nice
yeah.
to play, because if you lose a game or win a game, you can just go next game right away, and like it's fun. At least coming from a grinder.
So what rank are you hitting? Grinding Korea.
I
Give me a
think you
number.
a challenger. I'm
But what
confident
rank?
you
You got
can.
it. No, you're not hitting challenger.
Yeah.
Give me a rank. What number on the?
Oh, if not rank 1, my goal will be rank 1, but I'm look forward to get top 10, at least top
Top
10,
10?
top 15.
Top 10. I mean,
They're
top
not really
10 is
satisfied with
very
the shirt.
impressive.
Yeah. First goal is to hit challenger.
You got that. You're a solo queue menace. But I mean, the elephant in the room is that I think before this split, especially, I think maybe now people would say that Zazel is a really a heavy prospect to pick up. Like before this split, I think everyone was very clear going to 2024.
Yeah.
You are the player to look at. I think very clearly that was the big consensus. Fake God and Zazel have really proved themselves. Young and Meech have like shown that hey, they could actually be the surprise pickups from NACL if a team wants to show that they can pull up a talent like Danny was and just be like fuck developing them in NACL.
Yeah.
Show what they can do on the LCS stage, right? But I mean, you especially have been sort of mining away, grinding away, as you say, as you are in the NACL mines. But I think it's very clear that. I mean, do you think that anyone in the NACL can match you as far as the jungler goes?
I think, if not, if people don't think I'm the jungler, I think I'm the best, personally. I'm confident to say that. And I think all my teammates, I would like to see Fake God and Zazel back in LCS. I think they deserve a lot. And I want to see Meech and Young in LCS. I think
for sure
they deserve it as well. And they shown it. At least, well, that's what I doubted, though. But yeah, I really loved working with them. It was very fun, and the vibes are always good, and like we're always open to each other, like just saying, "Hey, you're in thing," or like, "I think you should do this or that," and like no one takes anything personal. Like it's really easy to work with everybody.
Yeah.
In review and just outside of scrim hours, just messaging, just thoughts or after a match. Like for example, when Young played in the Fear series, he was going electrocute with Ludens, Echo, and LeBlanc. I was like, I think you should really go Static Shiv, and like. I explained like selection probably would work well or better because you can still DPS a lot with just auto attacking and like side laning tempo is just very important and just one shotting waves is really good on LeBlanc.
Yeah.
So
Young actually told this story too. Talked about how he switched to Static LeBlanc. So one thing I do want to hear from you is like you have the experience now in NACL, and I think not only you would say that you're the best jungler in NACL, I think most people would agree that. I think you're the best jungler by a bit. So everyone always talks about the gap between NACL and LCS, and I think you are one of the players who's best positioned to see that gap because you worked a bunch with Blabber very closely, who is probably the best jungler in the LCS. How big does that gap feel? Like if you are going into the LCS next year, which I think you should, unless someone severely fucks up at their job. When you are in the LCS next year, where do you think you're going to be able to, like, you're going to start? Let's say. Where do you think you are?
I think if I want to play in the LCS, personally, my goal is just not to play in the LCS, just to play there. If I do play in LCS, I want to become like a top jungler or a strong jungler that can.
Do you feel like you have that now in you? Like you're already playing at that level where you.
Yeah, I'm confident that I'm at that level, and I think there's not really too much big of a gap. I mean, at least for the top teams between the top teams in NACL compared to like. Teams in LCS from bottom to middle tier. I think, for example, because we scrimmed a lot of LCS teams, I think they all pretty went solid and things. I think at the end of the day, like players playing on the stage is a lot different than scrims. Like I think something rare is that Zazel told me like it's rare to play the same in scrims or like compared to on stage.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you a good player. Like if you're able to like maintain the same way you practice on stage.
Did you feel like you were able to do that today?
Yeah. I mean, after game 1, like after like 2 or 3 clears, I felt like calm and normal, like just chilling.
Yeah.
You don't like before that I was kind of nervous because it's my first time playing on stage and there's a crowd.
There was a big crowd. Everyone was cheering.
Yeah, there's a big crowd and it's honestly a good feeling, like playing with the nerves and the pressure. Like I don't know, it's such a good feeling. And compared to playing at home, because we've been playing home for this last month.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, whoever shows up on the day or plays better will always win, which is kind of like obvious to say, but
I mean, you definitely have a really good point, right? Like I think knowing that you want to keep your scrim performance consistent to stage is a really big thing. A lot of teams can't match that. I think being very clear that like, you know, you're gonna be able to match LCS players next year if you go on the LCS stage, which again, unless someone really fucks up at their job, you should be. Either way, I think I'm very excited to see what you can do on the LCS stage. I'm very happy that Toast decided to come into the NACL, picked you guys up, and showed what you can do to the world. Because, like, you know, sometimes people are like, it's C9, they just pay whatever the best players, they just win. But it's like, you know, Golden Glue proved that he can fucking coach a championship roster.
I'm pretty sure, like, they're, like, C9's roster is, like, really good on paper, but, like, they work really hard and, like, it's not like as easy as it is to see from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, they make every game look easy, but that's like, the product.
There's a lot of hard work and like, there's just a lot. You can't just pick up players and be like, oh, we get a free win or like here a free win.
Yeah,
there's like a process and always depends. End of the day, how you get there, I think.
Yeah, and I know you guys all also shouted out all of the DSG support staff and everyone. So seems like you guys are getting along really well. I'm very sad that there won't be more of DSG. At least this iteration of DSG in the NACL. But I'm sure there'll be great new players next year while you guys are on the LCS stage. Maybe under the DSG banner.
Yeah.
What do we know? You can go ahead and shout out anyone you want to, Tomio.
I'd like to shout out my teammates, Zizo, Meech, Young, and Fakod. They were a pleasure to work with, and I love playing every second with them, even due to hard times and their troubles we found. Our coach, Golden Glue, or Grayson. Love to work with him, just super positive guy, and like he's not afraid to just like tell you if you're in thing or like you should do this, but he'll say it like in a productive way for sure. Shout out to Toast for just creating and looking to get into the scene, because before the off season I was like, maybe I should go back to school, or I'm not sure if I should play after like the NACL stuff blew up a little bit, and
I'm really glad you did.
Yeah. And then they finally reached out and they wanted to pick me to play. So without them, I wouldn't be here in this position. And shout out the Patreon. I know we always shout them out, but there are real ones out there. Like, feels good to have support outside of your personal life.
I think you guys are almost at 2,000 patrons.
Yeah.
So, that's really huge.
Shout out to our upper staff. Or staff, Julia, Robin, I forgot our camera guy's name, but Max, camera guy, C9, their manager named Jane, she helped us. She bought like the fruits and stuff. Shout out C9, especially too, for hosting the boot camp and letting us stay there. Felt like home again, and like we're just very welcome. Their managers are really nice and they treat us very well. They treat the players very well.
Yeah,
feels like
nice
very
to be back
welcoming.
there too.
Yeah. Shout out Ras, our analyst, for putting in work for the scouting reports and making the presentations before our match days. And yeah, shout out to the haters and the fans out there, even if you're not fully a DSG fan. It means a lot for at least an NA player in the NA scene.
Yeah. I'm sure it's really nice to find, like, to know that, like, you have fans even before you hit the LCS. Because a lot of players feel like you can't get fans unless you're in the LCS. And this kind of proves it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tomio.
Thank you.
You know, I'm so glad that I got to speak with all of you guys at DSG. I hope I get to see you again playing on stage. I hope I get to speak to you in interviews in the LCS and not just after the NACL. But thank you so much. You guys can check out other interviews we've had on this page.